Hi and welcome into my studio. I'm Janice, a commercial graphic designer turned fine artist, and I'd love to share with you the advantages of bringing a portable studio along with you should you have the opportunity to travel anytime in the upcoming year. Now that some bans have been lifted, it's a realistic opportunity. So instead of carrying the usual book that I've addressed before, which is about 9 by 12 spiral bound and gets pretty juicy, so this becomes a non-portable book. I have some other books which I will show you that can also work for your travel needs. Before we get into the video, hope that you glean something from this, and you'll hit like and subscribe. So with that, I've gotten a bunch of small books in the mail. This one came from Tiffany's, and I just used some of the existing imagery. I changed it out. I used some dry medium to go over this and make it my own. That's one idea, to reutilize and instead of tossing and think of how can I make something that was throwaway into something that now combines that sense of pop culture or recycling opportunity. Another book which is a hardcover. This one has lines in it, and you could use it maybe for a diary. The pages are not really appropriate for any wet mediums, but maybe you want to write poetry or notes on your trip. You can do that. Combine photography, collage, and simple line drawings in here. What's nice about it is that it's hardcover, so it's a little more durable. This is another book that I got from some company, and I sort of repurposed it. It has some really interesting little poetry and sort of short story type of entries. So I just picked things that came to mind and kind of put them in there. I used some of my own photographs and mounted those in there and made it my own. So another book repurposed. In this book, I wanted to keep a collection of different leaves. I really enjoy trees and learning about trees. Love the shapes, obviously, and had mounted some leaves in here, some bark, and just collected some more ginkgo leaves, and I want to be able to mount those flush so they don't curl. So this allowed me to press on it really hard, firm, because I could put a lot of weight on it and make it very flat because it's a repurposed piece of wood on this cover. Another book which I brought on a trip, which is, I don't remember the manufacturer of this particular product, but it is spiral bound, and that's my preference. It has a firm cardboard cover, but what's great about it is that the paper is of high quality. So here I can use a multitude of mediums. This was ink. I can use graphite pencil, which I can immerse in water, and then it becomes more of a liquid type of a medium. And then I can use collage. I can go back and forth over this paper. There's no transference of the image onto the back side, even though I do have it covered, but it's really high quality. So you can see how dense I've gotten with my darks, and it really holds up very well. So for me, this was one of my better products, and I'm sorry to say I don't remember the brand. Another book, this is from Canson. They make a lot of paper. This is 65-pound weight, which papers come in different weights, smooth surface, rough, and they are geared toward what products you're going to put on top of the surface. So this particular paper is made for dry mediums, particularly pencil, and it's very smooth. It doesn't have a tooth, so that the pencil will glide over the surface, not getting caught in the fibers. But I'm less of a traditionalist in terms of the way I like to do sketchbooks, so this one hasn't gotten used yet. You can pick up a book, or, I was gifted this a number of years ago. It was made from rice paper, and it's something that, I guess in my mind, lends itself to ink, so not quite as portable. And I use these books more for when I'm out. I can leave it in my car or use it on travel. So for the smaller sizes, I don't really use those in the studio as much. Another book, this one is cardboard, spiral bound. And again, you can see when the paper is sturdier, it's more of a very dense product. So some of the images in this book I actually used as reference for larger paintings. So for me, that's pretty productive. And lastly, more of a horizontal landscape format. Again, spiral bound. This is got a coated fabric on the cover, and here I used a lot of different products like gouache, watercolor, inks, a lot of pencils overlaid on top of that, and they don't really bleed through, so I could even potentially use this as a image I could mail, like a postcard. So that is pretty interesting, if I was on a trip and I were to come prepared with stamps. So it's pretty much post office agreeable. And so that's with the books. If I wanted to glue something, I'm not really going to carry anything like I would use Elmer's glue or any other product that I could apply with a brush or my hand, but I'll take along a glue stick. This one happens to be purple, but the only reason for that is so that you can tell where you've done the glue. So most times kids in elementary school would use the purple glue stick, so consider myself endlessly youthful. I can bring along a very portable set of watercolors, and this is from Winsor Newton. Comes in a plastic case. You open it up. When it's new, all of these little blocks are very dense and pigment heavy, so they really thin out beautifully with water. I wouldn't really carry any other mediums with me. It comes with this little brush in here. It's a natural fiber brush, so it's a pretty decent quality. So in the palette here, I can use this to mix my colors. So if you want to, or you're familiar with working with white and black, you may have to consider bringing those separate if you use extra on those, because you're getting 2 small blocks of that in this particular color collection. So I might bring an extra block of gouache or watercolor with me to replace that, or to put it on this end of the palette to, work with that. It depends on your color scheme that you have an affinity for, and be prepared to bring extra paints should you only, have a tendency to use those particular colors. So if we're going to use watercolor, we need water, and I bring a small bottle. It could be any bottle, but I find that a screw top has less of an opportunity to open up. If I've brought, let's say, a Tupperware type where the lid just snaps down, that could easily ruin my bag. So I like a screw top. I can really get it on there firmly. I can carry it out with me from a hotel, boat, whatever, and then obviously get rid of that when all is said and done. Some other mediums that I might want to bring with me are basic pencils, and they come in different numbers, which you'll see at the end of the pencil, and they're either H or B, and B is for hard, H are the hard pencils, B are the softer, and they can get up, 8, B, very soft and creamy, very dense, and that alone can, give you a really broad range of density and fluctuation in your imagery. And then if I want to get into color, I've found great success in this particular type of pencil. I can sharpen it as needed, and it comes in a full assortment. This is a 12, a set of 12, but I can buy these, or I used to be able to buy them separately, and they also have bigger collections. These I can immerse in water, and instead of it being like a typical colored pencil, the lead softens with the water, and then I can use these like a loose wash like I would. And if I sort of hold it really loosely, I can use the side of this and kind of brush like I would a paintbrush, so I can get a really broad ground. And then if I'm doing wet to wet, that means my pen is wet, I can go back and forth, keep that really liquid and loose, and then I can go over that with another color and again work it like I would a watercolor. So that's really quite useful. And then lastly, what I can bring are graphite pencils, and they come in a similar coating as a regular pencil in that they're either the H or the B. I'll see that at the end of this pencil, and the longer I immerse it in water, the softer that will get. So one time I left my pencil in the water, I walked away, came back, and I was like, wow, half my pencil was gone because it just disintegrated in the water. So I love these. They're very fluid. They're really light. If I, go with the particular harder, firmer pencil, and I can really go dense and very, seductively dark in the areas that I want to. So they're beautiful. And again, I can sharpen these as need be. I can bring a small piece of sandpaper if I like, and I can just take my sandpaper, run the tip of this over it while I rotate it and get a really crisp point. If I want to just kind of be a little more broader on the treatment of this nib, I can take a knife that's suitable for travel, and I can just kind of hone the end of this as need be. So that'll give me enough to kind of just be able to sketch. So that's sort of it with my dry to wet. One other product that I love to bring, and I have done a separate video on, are the China markers. And these are a waxy crayon type of product, but they are denser, so you're going to get more pigment and more saturation onto the page than a waxy crayon. They're really portable. They have this string. If I pull the string, I'm going to get paper that surrounds this end point, and I want to be careful not to remove too much of that paper because the tip will become fragile and just break off. So I expose only what's needed to be comfortable to work with. And again, if I overlay these colors, I can create a really dense kind of purple if I'm overlaying blue and red. If I need pink, I'll work with the red and the white, and I can overlay until I get the tones, the values, how I want the structure of my work. So in addition to that, if I want, I can bring tape if I have anything that I want to include to hold into my book that the glue stick can't really accommodate. I can glue something in there. Let's say I had some sort of memorabilia that I wanted to keep in my book or help, make sure I didn't lose it or whatever the case. It's always actually fun to work with tape as another medium in itself, because tape does come in a variety of colors. If you're using a vinyl tape, they come in a full assortment of colors, and there are artists who are professional and actually do work just with tape in exhibits. So I can be as creative as I want in my book, and just limiting the supplies, I can sort of put more imagination into my book than if I were, had a full assortment of materials with me. So I've got to be inventive. The whole book, maybe is, 50, 100 pages. So it's very doable on a vacation. And now that the bans have been lifted, let's all hope we get the opportunity to travel. So please let me know where you have been, and comment, like, and subscribe. See you again in the studio.